Or surprise me. I think it's
Never know. But as they're making their exit, I just want to say that the Mariachi Águilas de Oxnard was founded in 2005. They've been around since 2005, founded by Juan Carlos Osuna. This ensemble is composed of young, talented musicians, all proudly from Oxnard, California. And just last week, they packed this very stage for the rendering of the performance called Ay Chihuahua, a mariachi musical. Many of them made their acting debuts. So thank you very much, Mariachi Águilas de Oxnard. Young people you saw are from the Imlaquech Cultural Arts Center, which was founded in 1993 by Javier Gomez as an after-school. This is an after-school cultural enrichment program offering free cultural workshops in dance, music, visual arts, and drama. Mr. Gomez is a cultural arts advocate and activist promoting culture and equality among the arts. So Mr. Gomez and Imlaquech students were also featured in Ay Chihuahua. So thank them very much for coming.
There's no party like the Latino party. What I love about this.
I don't think that Dolores thought I was worth the trouble until I got Huntington Hartford to pick at the A&P, which of course got press because the heir to the A&P fortune was boycotting the A&P. After that, we became partners.
My mother was raised a Catholic and very traditional, and prior to going to New York City, she really didn't speak of feminism.
I was in New York when the feminist movement was being born, but my mind was focused on getting all of those women at those conventions to support the farm workers.
There was a time when rarely could you discover women of color who would identify as feminists, because it was assumed to be a question simply of gender. And if it was a question simply of gender, that gender was white.
Wow. Great. You are definitely an iconic figure. We've been on stage together a few times. This is our third time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being backstage with you, and you said, I think you're related to me. You told me that I was related to you. And we started going over our family. And growing up as a kid, any Mexican who came to my house, I thought was my cousin for sure. Did anyone else feel that way? Because parents, oh, it's your compadre, it's your comadre, and all of a sudden it's like, I have the most amazing family. Every Mexican's related to me. But we actually talked about, one of my cousins, David Villarino Gonzalez, was very involved in the UFW back in the day, and he had just such great things to say about you and what you did. Imagine, take me back to when you were a child. You're in Dawson, New Mexico. And you're in New Mexico, and your mother runs a hotel.
Well, that was actually in Stockton.
Stockton? Okay,
That's
Stockton.
right. We left New Mexico when my mother divorced my father and left to California.
Yeah. At this hotel in Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
She rented out rooms to migrant farm workers
Right.
and all that. Is that where you started getting your compassion and understanding?
Well, there was two things. I think my mother was, she was very Católica, she believed in the saints of St. Francis, the devotee of St. Francis Xavier, and she always said that when we were little, she would tell us, if you see someone that needs help, you have to help them. If there's anybody that you can help, you have to do it, but you can't take any reward for that, or take any kind of compensation, because that takes away the grace of what you're doing. And so we kind of grew up with that, and so my mother was a very charitable woman. In our hotel, we had a lot of people that were sometimes disabled. I remember one time one young man came, and he had come from Kansas, and he didn't know anybody. And he said, well, people told me to come to your hotel. He told my mother. So she said, okay. And so she let him stay there until he got a job and got his feet. He turned out to be a very successful educator in Stockton, California. But that was the way she was.
Mm-hmm. And she was a big part of your inspiration. You saw a strong woman growing up.
And the other thing was, I was a Girl Scout. There's Girl Scouts in the house. Being a Girl Scout was very important for me growing up. I was a Girl Scout from the time I was 8 till the time I was 18 years old. For 10 years I was a Girl Scout. great because when you're a Girl Scout, you learn how to speak in public, you learn how to do all different kinds of crafts. We used to sing at the hospitals, you know, when people were sick. We would make all kinds of bibs for babies and all kinds of different crafts and things. So, and then some of my girlfriends were pachucas, you know? And I got them in the Girl Scouts.
Really?
And it was great. We all went camping into the mountains, and my pachuca chica and girlfriends, they made tortillas for everybody, so they were
Now, in Girl Scouts, if I recall right, they have a badge in your honor.
Yes, they do. The Si Se Puede.
The Si Se Puede.
Si Se Puede badge, right. And they have to do a curriculum to talk not only about farm workers, but about all immigrants.
Yeah.
And they have to talk about what they have to learn about women's rights. And if they can follow all of that curriculum, then they get the badge, the Si Se Puede badge.
Is there any Girl Scouts here that got the badge? Anyone?
They're working on it.
They're working on it good. All right, next Latino club members have that badge ready. I mean, you should be pretty inspired. So it was there. So you see your mother. She's working hard. She's a woman in charge. She's doing all this. I mean, at that time that was pretty amazing. She had that kind of business, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And my mother was actually, my grandmother died when my mother was, she was just 5 years old. And so my mother was raised by my aunt and my grandpa. And so she had to learn how to do everything by herself. But she was a very wonderful person, had a very good business sense, you know. She was a fabulous cook. And before she had a restaurant, before she had a hotel, she actually had a restaurant. But so she could do many things.
Everything. So I mean, because a big part of your work has always been about women's rights, also LGBTQ and all the other things. But I've noticed a pattern of really being there to support the women and make sure the woman's voice is heard, which I think is so admirable in what you've done in just your entire career. I mean, is there ever a moment where you look and you go, you think of that girl in Stockton, California, and all the things you've seen in all your lifetime? Did you ever imagine it was ever going to be like this?
Not really. I think, and I can say this for Cesar and for Helen, for his widow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say a word about her because Helen doesn't get a lot of publicity. And I guess she did in the movie, the Cesar Chavez movie. But Helen was very strong.
Yeah.
And in fact, I always like to say that Caesar was only afraid of two beings, God and Helen. And he never would have been able to do what he did without her support and, you know, her strength behind him.
Did she pretty much start the union? I mean, in terms of the credit union, the credit union.
Yeah, actually, when we started the union, then we wanted to have a credit union.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were in Caesar's house, we were having our board meeting, our board that we put together when we started the United Farm Workers. And we said, well, we've got to get somebody to run the credit union. We wanted this is the first credit union for farmers in the whole United States of America. The very first one. And so we thought, well, who's good with numbers and who has a good handwriting? And Caesar said, Helen. And Helen was in the kitchen, you know, she was washing the dishes. And so we made a motion, and somebody seconded the motion. Well, we now will have Helen Chavez. And she was in the kitchen yelling, no. yes, you know. But she took the job, and she did an incredible job. And after Caesar passed away, you know, we didn't have ATMs and all that that people need for the bank, so we merged with another credit union. But when we merged, we had lent $11 million to farm workers of their own money.
$11 million.
$11 million.
The lesson I see in that is a community banding together and creating something special like that. I mean, that is always the answer. And what's so great about you and Caesar is that how, like I told that story early on when I was at this event for Caesar Chavez, and I was just so touched how he went to every single farm worker there and spent time with them and made them feel like a king. And really all the Hollywood people he was very polite to, but those are the people he loved. And to see that and see such compassion, it was very humbling for me, because working in Hollywood, you don't see that too often. But to watch a man who gave his life, and what you've done to give your life, and continue to give your life to your community. But I think also the greater good. I mean, isn't that a big part of it?
Yes, of course, because we have to go out there and we have to teach people that they have the power, that they can organize, they can come together, that they can make that they can make a difference. And people would ask us all the time, well, how do you organize a farm worker? Because they're poor, they don't speak English, they don't have any money. How can you possibly organize them? And our answer was always, because we tell the people that we are organizing, you've got the power, but it's in your person. It's in your person. But you know you can't do anything by yourself. You've got to get together with other people. But working together, this is how we make the change. But you've got to take direct action, and it's got to be non-violent action. You can't do it with violence. And the man who we just saw walk across the stage a little while ago, his name is Marcos Munoz, and he was one of